Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in welcoming our distinguished speaker, Mr. Amit Bhardwaj, and invite Executive Member Ms. Pranjal Malhotra and Mr. Dev Sanotra to join us on a stage as moderators for this interactive session.
Hello sir, my name is Pranjal Malhotra. I am from PGDM General.
And I, Dev Sanotra from PGDM Artificial Intelligence and Data Science.
We are PGDM first year students as well as executive members of Corporate Interface Cell, and we will be the moderators for today.
True leadership is not just built in boardrooms or management meetings. It's nurtured in the stillness of reflection and the richness of life's experiences. On this note, we'll begin with the first question.
So sir, since Battery Smart works as a battery as a service model, how viable is the large-scale implementation of battery swapping technology in commercial vehicle sector?
I'll start by sharing the fact that the EV vehicles, right, and especially how it is happening in India, vis-a-vis how it's happening across the world. EV, when if you check the graphs or the numbers in 2025, the overall EVs which were sold globally used to be 20% of the overall vehicles sold, right? In India, this number is almost half. So out of 10 vehicles, EV vehicles which is sold, it's only one or less than that, right? So hardly 7-8%. So we have different reports to which we can refer to. So there are 7-8% of the EV vehicles today sold in India. Now, why less in India? The biggest reason around that is the affordability, right? Because EV vehicles, people think, at least in India, that those are not affordable. And what makes it costlier is not the chassis of a vehicle, but the battery inside it, right? That makes it costlier. And hence, players like Battery Smart are actually creating difference, right? I'll explain you how. So, say for any commercial driver, right, when he or she goes to buy a vehicle, then probably on a day one itself, it's very costly, right? So what we said, okay, you just buy the vehicle, right, and your battery related problem will take care of it. How? By procuring the batteries on our balance sheet. So today, Battery Smart is the largest player in India, which owns approximately 275,000 battery packs, lithium-ion battery. So on a day one itself, we solved the problem of affordability. So these commercial drivers, right, they are not required to anymore say, if they are buying three-wheeler, it costs 2 lakh rupees, so they have to just spend maybe 1 lakh rupees on day one. So that's point number one, that how we solve that. Second, on an ongoing basis, when it comes to operating these vehicles, right? So to charge a vehicle, there is a downtime, right? If you have a battery, you have to take a downtime, charge your vehicle, and then again you can actually use it. In our battery swapping model, there is no downtime for that driver. Now they can keep running their vehicles. So again, Battery Smart solved there another problem, which is operating the vehicle. So you solve the capex problem as well as the opex problem, and that is how we are making it more and more affordable for those people who want to have the EV adoption. And when it comes to total cost of ownership, in case of EV vehicle, it's far lesser than having a ICE vehicle. So with that, I would say this is the kind of difference that we at Battery Smart right now are making, and that too for the people who are at a bottom of a pyramid, right? So we have positioned ourselves into the three-wheeler and two-wheeler segment, and that too only for the commercial vehicles and not for the passenger vehicles, right? So with that, hope that answers what you are asking for.
Definitely, sir. That was a great takeaway for us.
Sir, on that note, we would like to have your words on what role do CFOs play in attracting ESG linked funds such as green bonds or sustainability linked loans. Also, what are the key financial levers in maximizing capital efficiency for battery swapping networks?
Got it. So, see, first of all, for the audience, right? I would want to make few of the things very simpler, right? So that rest of the questions that these guys will ask, you can relate it back with what I explained to you. One day, my daughter, she's 12 years old, and she asked, Papa, what do you do in your office, right? Being the CFO. So I said, Beta, I take care of the money that we generate in our company, and I take it in such a way that we save the planet also, right? So now my daughter said, as a follow-up, she said, okay Papa, then you are a math teacher and alongside you are also a moral science teacher, right? Now why I'm saying so is because now it's no more just the arithmetics for the CFOs, it's also the ethics, right? Now with this story I want to add that whatever that we do today as a CFO to run the finance functions, it's no more about the numbers, it's also about the responsibility, right? The trust that we want to generate and trust for the stakeholders. And one of the biggest stakeholder in any organization is your investors. Now if you are continuously doing that and you are creating an impact, say tools or frameworks like ESG, then of course you will be able to attract better capitals, right, which is available at a very fair cost, right? And hence comes these instruments like green bonds, the loans which are available at a much lower cost, the equity capital itself, right? So all these things are available, right? So we have to understand one thing, that if I'm going ethically, if I'm running my business carefully, right, there's an element of sustainability, there's an element of responsibility, then all these things actually work well, right? And you have to continuously demonstrate that. It cannot be a show of a one day or a 1 month or a year, right? Then you're creating something for a very longer duration, and if you're able to demonstrate that, then all these instruments you can design, you can take, and there is always a capital available which you can actually go and secure for your businesses.
Also, sir, I believe that going by ESG model, companies gain a good market value and they get good goodwill from the market, and there's a better sentiment in the market as well for the company.
Correct. Yes, that's the fact. See, ESG, environment, social, governance at all the levels, if you are fairly playing, then you are always generate a huge amount of goodwill, and that actually unlocks the value, right? I have another example to share. Say, Bhopal gas strategy, right? There was a movie also by the name, बताओ क्या था? Anybody? Huh? Railwayman, right? Now think for a while from a ESG lens, right? There was a company in Bhopal, and profits were overtaking the responsibilities that they could have actually demonstrated, right? Now since they were chasing the profitability, so they compromised with everything. They were actually leaving such kind of pollution or air, right, which was so harmful for their employees. Now imagine a situation with that. Can anybody create a goodwill? Would you want to be the customer of that company? Would you be willing to be an investor in companies like those? Never, right? So when you're doing the things responsibly, then of course all these things are available. Your goodwill is there. You will find good customers who will trust on you. You will find good investors. Maybe they may not be getting the big returns at the moment, but eventually in the long run they are going to generate the returns out of your business. So that's the answer for the ESG framework. Definitely, if you are rightfully running it, right, then probably the value will flow to you.
That was a valuable perspective, sir. I hope audience will take good insights from that.
Also, sir, do you believe sustainability should be seen as a cost or an investment from the CFO's perspective?
See, sustainability definitely is an investment, right? Basic definition, क्या होती है investment की, right? Anybody would want to attempt that? क्या होता है investment का meaning? Huh? Investment is something that you are putting money in today with a hope that you will generate the return out of it, right? Now imagine I say कि नहीं sustainability तो मेरे लिए cost बन गई है और इसको मेरे P&L से हटाओ यार. Example, in battery smart, we make whole lot of investments with respect to the safety, right? Lithium ion battery है, hazardous product है, partners भी use कर रहे हैं, जो stations चला रहे हैं, drivers are also using that. My employees are dealing with that at warehouses or the people who are transporting it. Just imagine if I'll not invest into safety and start assuming that as a cost, so I'll make my P&L greener today. It will look very like, wow, kya beta hai, kya P&L hai. But is that the long-term answer? Not at all, right? So for me, putting that money today is an investment, right? There may be a cost. I may have low EBITDA, low profit margins, that's fine. But this investment is very important for me because I am creating something which is going to last long, right? Maybe 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years down the line. So that's the beauty of understanding this sustainability, correlating that with finance, understanding that that's not a cost, it's an investment that you are making, right? And that is how the value will get unlocked.
Indeed, sir. That explains why sustainability is a value driver in the company.
Yeah.
Taking forward, what are your views for aspiring CFOs? What mindset is key to driving financial resilience and sustainability together?
See, CFO mindset or the finance team mindsets, they are no more, conventional employees or conventional. They need not to use conventional elements anymore. They are expected to do much larger roles, deliver much larger perspective, beat anything, right? Be it they are doing any day-to-day transactions, they are doing any planning related work, any regulatory related work, right? They are someone who actually have to come out of their conventional heads always, right? Think always for a long-term perspective. And I strongly believe they need to drive 2-3 important values. And very simple to understand, by the way, right? And I'll ask to the people who are sleeping. पूछूं? अब पहले बताता हूँ फिर पूछूंगा, right? Okay. So 3 important elements, guys, right? One is there should be element of consistency, right? In CFOs or the finance teams. I cannot keep changing the stories or what is happening in my business every time. So I have to maintain the predictability. So same is expected out of the finance teams today, right? That's element number 1. Second is they have to be communicative, right? They should be always someone who are communicating. They are not hiding anything. They have to be very much transparent with whatever that they are doing today, right? Third is they should be collaborative, they have to collaborate with everyone, with the entire ecosystem, which means there are different departments operating around them. There are different stakeholders in the form of regulators, auditors, then there are investors, right? So they have to be collaborative everywhere so that where they sit, they can unlock the value as much as possible for the company. Yeah. So those are like, three important elements that I foresee in today's finance, or I expect from the CFOs.
So when it comes to communication and collaboration, I believe everyone here is good at it. But on consistency's part, I believe that due to social media and other factors, consistency is quite missing in today's generation. So what are your views to tackle that consistency problem and overcoming the scenario?
See, consistency, I go with what you are saying, that it may be missing. But for us, I think consistency's definition is very clear, very simple, that we actually try to maintain at our ends, which is in the form of that whatever the projections, models, the cost disciplines that we are actually implementing always remains consistent. Whatever the promises that we make, right, around anything, be it say the utilization of capital that we are available with, right? We are very clear that we'll be implementing or utilizing these capitals only for the desired purposes, right? Which actually generates or unlocks value today and in the longer run. So consistency with respect to how I perceive the different costs, consistency with respect to how I will deal with the regulators, how much I'll always be transparent with respect to my processes, right? Consistency with my investors. So probably at least to the people who are not consistent with these ethos, then probably I would strongly recommend that when you, or people at your age, they should actually understand it's a very important element, and you shouldn't compromise at all on these fronts, right? Because that's not going to help you in long run. The journey will shorten itself, right? So I know many companies, many such CFOs who are not able to maintain those kind of consistency. And because see, if you are not maintaining that consistency, that is going to impact your trust levels, right? And if the trust is broken, then it's going to badly hurt you. Because trust is something that compounds every time. It's no more the universe of just the balance sheets. That asset is written, the liability is written, right? Now it's like balance sheets of trust, so that your all stakeholder can actually rely on you what you are saying, and that only comes when there is a consistency. So I would always recommend people like you who actually is going to start their careers, right? Be consistent. Don't change your milestones, and even if it is a bad thing, right? Have a courage inside you to go and speak about it and tell, and disclose if anything has gone wrong. It may impact for a while, right? You may get scolded. If you are a listed company, then probably your stock price will get beaten up. If it is your lender, they may add more risk premium to the interest that they charge to you on the debt facility. That's the maximum it will happen, right? But it's not going to derail the functioning of your organization, right? They'll still be with you, and rather they'll appreciate that you were honest enough, right? You showed the integrity, and you disclosed it. So maintain consistency. That's very important. That's non-negotiable item, I would say, right? So be with that. It's just now since you guys are mature enough, you can understand. जब हम लोग पढ़ते भी थे एग्जाम्स में, क्या होता था? दो तरीके होते थे. एक होता था एग्जाम से एक दिन पहले किताब खोल ली, राइट? उस दिन तब क्या होता था? रटिफिकेशन चलता था, रट लो चीज़ों को, इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चंस पूछ लो, राइट? एक होता था कि ठीक है यार, साल भर खेला भी और कभी कभी बीच बीच में पढ़ते रहे, तो कॉन्सेप्ट्स आर क्वाइट क्लियर. सो now you guys are mature enough. Had this been a school 6th 7th के students, उनको समझ में नहीं आता, but I strongly believe that you guys will understand this, that there also the consistency works. So why it will not work when you will actually go, you know, go at the advanced level of your careers, which is like joining the corporate. So consistency will still work, it will still give the same kind of results.
That's a great answer, sir. And I hope every one of us would get some deep insights from it and enhance our performance.
So, sir, as we look at the evolving role of a CEO throughout the past years, he is not just someone who is good at finances, but also a good motivator and a leader. So, sir, how do you motivate teams to pursue sustainability goals when short-term pressures dominate?
See, for me, motivating my team is no more those Friday weekends, right? Friday आया liquor party कर दो बढ़िया सी, team is happy. So that style doesn't work by the way, right? Few of the people who are actually building their career or so, they feel that, you know, this is the only way of motivating. For me, how motivation works is I try to explain them the purpose for whatever that they are doing, right? And once that purpose is told to them, then the next thing is they start owning the things, right? And especially at Battery Smart, I'll tell you, I mean, we have a very well-defined value system, and we continuously keep reinforcing that whenever we get the time. And one of the element is ownership, right? Which is part of our operating principles as well, right? So there we continuously push people to understand the purpose, own it, and once people own it, right, then they start feeling motivated. Even if so I mean, it's not always that result driven, that if you'll get the result, then only probably you will be rewarded. Even if your results were not in line with what you were expecting, still, right, if you showed the full ownership inside it, the result came out the way it was required or not, right, you'll still be appraised of what you have done. So that is the way that I try to motivate my people. Second, I mean, I personally follow this a lot. The people who work around me, right, I always, you know, if it is a review or appraisal cycle, I always ask them, okay, look back into your past 6 months or 12 months, right? What is that you created in these 6 or 12 months? One is, okay, sir, salary बढ़ गया 10% बढ़ गया, किसी का 15 बढ़ गया, किसी का 20% बढ़ गया. Okay, that's one factor, one very important factor. But at the same time, I always ask, अच्छा तुमने बताओ नया नया क्या क्या सीखा, right? And then they come back and tell me, okay, sir, हमने last 6 to 12 months में हमने FP&A में ये नया चीज सीखा, ऐसे फाइनेंशियल्स बनते हैं, ऐसे कॉस्ट सेंटर कैप्चरिंग होती है. मेरा ऑडिट वाला आकर के बताता है, ओके, मैंने एक नया इंडिया सीखा, नया एग्जीक्यूशन सीखा. मेरा टैक्स वाला आके बताता है, ओके सर, ये कॉम्प्लेक्सिटीज आ गई थी, राइट, एंड वी डेल्ट विद दैट, राइट. So okay, and then I always explain them, see what you actually have done, now feel proud of it, and on this you are actually going to build your next level of career or next phase of your career, right? And that is how you have to actually bring and keep making them acknowledging what they are delivering, and that actually excites them and that keeps them motivated, right? Because you know, they otherwise weekend parties, just like, you know, increasing the payroll, I don't think so that motivates people.
Very well said, sir. When we take responsibilities of our action, things become more clearer and more easier. Also, one should take responsibility with courage and pride to avoid any kind of mislead or ambiguity. On that note, I would like to ask, this was with respect to the employees, but when it comes to board meetings or board of directors, how you persuade them when they are not interested in a project which is a long-term sustainable and they are interested in short-term profitability?
See, I would say again, I'll go back to what I just explained. It's all about trust, right? As a CFO, as a company, uh, we have to make sure that that trust is always there. And I would say rather, days are gone wherein the board members or investors anymore seek any short-term shocks, right? They always would want from you that there's always a transparency, there's always a integrity, that whatever the number that you are reporting are not manipulative at all, right? And you are again consistent. So probably these 3-4 things, if you are able to demonstrate, I have hardly found any kind of board who actually demands you to take shortcuts or maybe short-term answers. If you are able to do these justice, then probably your investors or stakeholders are always happy, right? Because they know that what they have put into the business, where it is actually going and where it is finding the way to.
So basically, it's all about transparency, consistency, clear communication, and collaboration.
Exactly.
That's a great insight, sir. So, sir, I would like to ask, what role can green bonds, credit cards, or ESG-linked instruments play in accelerating India's clean energy goals?
See, again, see all these instruments that you talked about, these are like, a clear sources of funds for us, right? If you look back, I think one of the company which can be quoted here is Tata Group, right? They actually issued the green bonds, right? And they got the massive subscription for it. And why again? First of all, to run any business, to grow any business, capital is always required. Now, as a CFO, we have to be like always mindful of that. The capital that we are arranging, the cost of that capital should be as low as possible, right? Now, green bonds that you talked about, this is something which is actually finding its way, it's progressing, it's improving year on year, right? We have better opportunities, we are able to attract the capital. Good part is government is also pushing it, right? So at a macro level, that push is clearly there. And there are a whole lot of avenues which are getting open. The international level capital is now actually getting attracted, and they are actually subscribing these green bonds on the cards. So that definitely is increasing year on year. India itself has taken a target of 500 gigawatt of renewable capacity by 2030. And it's not just that at a center these are becoming the directions, rather it's like they are actually being implemented. With that, if we are able to execute it well, which of course at least in India we are able to execute, of course there are challenges that we foresee. So when actually these actions are in place, then of course we are able to use these kind of bonds. Acceptability is increasing year on year, right? And hence this lower cost of capital is actually getting available to us.
So, sir, what is your finance mantra for students entering a world where ESG is becoming mainstream?
Finance, see mantra, देखो स्पेशली आप लोगों के लिए ESG of course as a concept and then further linked with the sustainability thing. I would say when you are starting your career, right, not just the career, I would say, see, it should be your day-to-day statement, whatever that you are doing currently, right, that should start actually forming the part of it. And why? Because I've already explained you, right, that if you are actually cultivating yourself on these principles, it is going to take you longer. And there are many companies who have now started putting ESG as one of the key requirements for the new students or for the people who actually are starting their careers, right? So ESG is now becoming that important. Having said that, please don't treat this ESG or a sustainability as a theoretical topic. As I said, it's there in your day-to-day lifestyle, the way you live, right? Environment. I mean, again, you have to take care of your environment on a day-to-day. I mean, most of you would be using two-wheelers, four-wheelers, right? So probably how much we can be mindful of the way we are actually using those, how much minimal it can be, right? How much I can use the public transport system, right? It has to come from your, like, inner soul, right? Similarly social, right? How much you are actually, how you are actually interacting with your colleagues, with your support staffs, right? How much or how you are interacting with your, like, your peer groups. Similarly at a governance level, right? Of course, there is not much in your life right now, the regulators or things, right? Probably they'll come and follow in your life. So I would say you have to start practicing right now, because you cannot be someone who is doing something different in your life here, and probably when you go into your jobs or your careers, then probably you start implementing that. That's one that students should follow as per me. That should be your mool mantra today itself. Second, of course, if you are actually be mindful of all these aspects, please understand it's very, very important and very much valued outside. And there, and as I said, many companies actually have started putting this as one of the important aspects. Now that's about when you build the careers. Now when you are into your, say, the desired job, there also probably, again, if you understand this, you have to demonstrate. Take an example of having people in the system, right? As a finance, I can always talk about, okay, this is the payroll that I am paying, this is the PF, this is the say labor tax that I am paying. But there is other metric. What is my retention rate of employees? Right? Retention can only happen when people actually trust your culture, right? They enjoy your culture, they enjoy your environment. So employees, right? Similarly, your customers, right? They should trust your product, whatever that you are actually dealing into. Similarly, the governance, your regulators, your auditors, everyone. So ESG has actually started today itself. It will go into your career and it will keep going on, right? So please understand, you should not be ignoring this subject, and this is going to deliver a very, very fruitful career in times to come.
That's a great insight for the students sitting here, sir. So, sir, on that note, I would like to ask additionally, what are the top 2-3 skills that finance students in today's era should at least know and should work in sustainability-driven companies?
See, finance students, I mean, they have to now start understanding there are two kinds of balance sheets, right? Conventionally, जो हम लोग अभी तक पढ़ते आए, एक तो फाइनेंशियल बैलेंस शीट होती है जिसमें एसेट है, लाइबिलिटी है, राइट? Apart to that, you should start learning about the environmental balance sheet, responsibility balance sheet, right? I gave you the example of safety, right? You should not just understand, okay, अगर मैंने safety पे ये किया तो ये cost बना तो P&L में गया और एक balance sheet में मैंने उसका outcome दिखा दिया, ठीक है? As a students, now you have to start, additionally thinking, right? What that addition is, that probably you have to now start connecting the dots. That whatever that you are doing right now, what is the impact that it will bring, right? And how a longer term answers are coming. So that is something that you guys actually should start bringing into your behaviors, into what you are studying or whatever that you are doing, right? So that's the thing that I would suggest. Similarly, I try to ask similar kind of questions with my team, right? And that generates the additional layer of ownership that I talked about. So same applies for you also. So whatever that you're doing, just don't be always numerical, right? That okay, I have to just solve for this profit and loss account. These are the ratios, and this is like the balance sheet finally. So I would say okay. Have you heard of IRR? What is IRR? Internal rate of return, right? Now in our world, the new world, right, which is coming up, we call it internal rate of responsibility. It's no more internal rate of return, right? So how much responsibility that we are taking? See, everything today is measured, right? And if I'm not doing anything responsibly, then of course that is going to hurt me. I'll give you another example. There was a time in Punjab, right, wherein people started focusing more on the yield from the agriculture. Okay. Now, how the yield was coming, there was more and more pesticide which was getting used. So, what was the metric people were using? Yield per acre, right? Yield per acre, जितना pesticide डालोगे उतना गेहूं उगेगा उतना चावल होगा और yield better आएगा. But eventually what happened? Today the water table of Punjab has got so much pesticide inside it that now it has become irreversible for the farmers. It is now actually have started impacting. So at some point in time people followed IRR, which was internal rate of return. But the internal rate of responsibility went missing, right? And that has become the struggle today. Yeah. So that's the thing. Please keep doing responsibility, whatever that you are doing, and always try to look into a bigger picture. Not just solve for that shorter duration or that medium level of duration, but a longer and a sustainable answer is most important. So as a students, I would always recommend you guys to think from that perspective, and that's the next value creator, and that is how actually I am looking at, right? If you are going to be an entrepreneurs, right, many of you would be thinking to start your own startups. You would want to attract the capital, right? Because to create any business you need a capital, right? And if you want to attract a right set of capital available always, be it coming from a equity investor or from the lenders, you have to do the right things at the right time. And that again is one of the value that we drive in Battery Smart also. Do the right things, right? Don't go for short-term benefits. Don't take shortcuts. So as a student, you guys actually should start thinking that way. It may sound a little odd at the moment. यार आए हैं पढ़ना एग्जाम देना डिग्री लेनी है आगे बढ़ना है, but believe in me, then only you will take that degree, right? But if you want some practical set of things along with you, along with the degrees with which you have lived, right, that is actually enhance your career in a big way. So keep this in mind, right, that ESG is very important, right?
Very well said, sir.